One question, an amazing lineup of CEOs, founders, and experts. This is Marketing for the Now.
Super excited.
Can you hear me? You're 50 yet.
Thank you so much.
That made me feel.
Thanks for having me on.
I love how both realize if you're back.
So glad to be
You really tell it in your fucking face. TikTok, LinkedIn.
Gary.
Hi.
It's TikTok Thursday.
I am super excited for this one. This, I think, will bring a lot of value to a lot of people. Obviously, I've been on this game since it was called Musical.ly here in the United States. And so it'll be very exciting to see what these incredible leaders in marketing have to say. And it's great to see everybody. Shirley, Wu, Ryan Terry, Zen Rasta, Morgan here on LinkedIn, Liz on LinkedIn, Simon on YouTube. Thank you for joining us at Marketing for the Now. Andrea, how was your New Year's? How's your first month of 2022? How are you?
It's been awesome. I feel really lucky. My family's healthy, and we're launching things like crazy, as you know, Gary. So it's been a great ride. Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. I know we started here late.
Fired up. Yeah, we're gonna go deep today. We got a 2-hour session. We're gonna kick things off with Chris Brandt. We're bringing him back again. Chris is Chief Marketing Officer of TikTok, doing some really cool at TikTok. Chief Marketing Officer at Chipotle, doing some great stuff on TikTok. We're so happy to have you back, Chris.
Oh, thanks for having me back. I don't know whether I did a bad job the first time, and so I'm getting a redo, or I did a good job. So you have me back.
No self-deprecation here from good work, Chris. Chris, get right into it. For everybody listening, because we've only got 7 minutes here, so let's pack it in. For everybody listening, how is Chipotle under your helm has been so good at contemporary marketing? Truly one of the few brands that I watch from afar and be like, that crew over there gets it. How have you been thinking about it, and what's kind of like on your mind?
Yeah, well, thank you for saying that. I think that all credit to the team. We've really assembled an amazing team, and I think that we set out in 2018 when most of us started at Chipotle to be more visible, more relevant, and more loved. And a big part of that was being on social. And I think that we just wanted to make sure we were doing the right things and the right way, and wherever we appear. And I think that you need to appear. People call it omni-channel. We used to call it 360-degree marketing. Wherever you are, you have to appear there the right way. And I think that that's the big part. Your creative can't be the same on Snapchat as it is on TikTok, as it is on TV, as it is anywhere else. And the team just does a fabulous job of figuring out where the intersection of culture and Chipotle lives. Because we can't jump on every trend. We shouldn't jump on every trend. Some of them don't fit us.
Yes.
But in the case of TikTok, I mean, we jumped on that. We were talking about TikTok as a place that our consumers are back at the end of 2018.
Yeah.
But we didn't have a good idea to go on TikTok in a really
real quick. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm vibing with all this. This is an insight for a lot of marketers watch this show, so I want to help them. And I actually want to get the insight here. Ideas are everything, and then the execution is everything, right? A brand, and I couldn't agree with you more. Your constituents were on there from day one. And again, I think the accolades I gave you is because I do think you're moving faster and more native than a lot of your contemporaries in Fortune 5000 marketing world. But one thing you just said did catch my attention. Does it run through your mind or the brand's team's mind, the teammates, the agency partners, that you don't necessarily, when a platform is that meaningful, need a core idea like a campaign? You just need to actually be in the game. That, was there ever a debate of like, okay, yeah, we don't have our idea yet, but let's actually make content from having a day-to-day pulse versus a core idea? Or do you normally or always or sometimes feel, no, I want to go in with an idea and then we'll start figuring out the day-to-day after? Because I think it's an interesting nuance that I'm very curious what your take on that is.
I think there's some of both. The one thing we don't want to be is lame when we first go on a platform, though. We don't want to go in. We don't want to go in with something that doesn't feel native.
But you agree, I think, because I'm watching from afar again, you agree that doing a challenge or doing something that's campaign oriented, you could equally not be lame by just doing an actual good TikTok right out the gate that you guys know what the fuck is going on.
That you could. Yes. And so, but I think that when you're looking to make a bigger splash, for example, when we were talking to them at the end of 2018, we didn't do anything until the beginning of 2019 because we didn't feel like we wanted to do a TikTok challenge. Brands weren't doing them at the time. And we felt like, what is our TikTok challenge that will really make a splash? Well, we didn't know. So we didn't do anything. And we were waiting and waiting. And then we had one of our team members in a restaurant had this cool way he could flip the lid up onto a bowl. And we posted it on Instagram first, and it got 1 million views like that. We're like, hey, this could be it. So we got an influencer who loved Chipotle, was absolutely in love with Chipotle. I think that's the other part is use influencers who are absolutely in love with your brand, even if they're not the biggest influencer, because you'll get content that just feels so much more organic and genuine. And I think that we launched that and we got, at 250 million views, which was a lot of views, back in 2019, we got that right away. And so we were off to the races. But I think whether it's TikTok or whether it was Snapchat or Instagram or whatever, I think you want to take a step back too and understand what that platform is about and for the consumer. And so Instagram's about inspiration. TikTok happens to be about mood lifting and an awareness generator. It's almost like TV for Gen Z. So kind of behave like that, but have content that looks like it's created looks like it's UGC, because if you don't, you're just, you're
finished.
You're going to be terrible.
You're going to be the old guy at a hot club.
Exactly right. 100%.
Chris, have you're so busy. Is there, I know we're talking TikTok, but I'm going to get value out of you. Is there any social network that you actually consume as a human being without a marketing mind lens on, or are you just kind of too busy and there's too much going on?
I watch a lot of TikTok as a consumer, to be honest. I
think because
the
interest graph, right? Because
you're
seeing things that you want to see.
Their algorithm is really good. Mine looks very different from my wife's, but the creativity and the humor that people have amazes me on TikTok, and the talent. Yeah. And so that's the one. It is a black hole. You can get on there and all of a sudden 20 minutes have gone by and you're like, "Ooh, what just happened?" But I've picked up a lot of golf tips, but I've also it's entertaining.
It's funny. Yeah. I invested in, so I talk a lot about I invested in Facebook and Twitter, and I always mentioned that I invested in Tumblr at the time. And I remember the reason I invested in Tumblr in 2008 or 9 or 7 was because they were building an interest graph social network, not a social graph. And I remember being interested in that people were following, not like people, but like the kind of art they liked and things of that nature. And I was very fascinated and always felt that the interest graph, that's why I fell in love with early Facebook, algorithm, because fan pages could go viral. Yeah. That kind of changed over time. And I think TikTok has really grabbed onto that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that the outlet for creativity is amazing.
Chris, thanks for having
me. Appreciate it.
By the way, real quick, Andrea, I'm sorry. Dan Masso, Gary V, King of Interrupting. Wow, I apologize. It's only 10 minutes with these incredible individuals. And I feel like when the essence of what they're trying to say is accomplished to many of you, I try to get 1 or 2 more nuggets out of you. It is not because I'm trying to be rude. I'm excited and I want to squeeze as much in, and I'm making a subjective call on the fly that the point was made. And I'm hoping that lands.
On to the next one. Next up, we welcome Kalyn Thornton. He's the CMO of Gatorade. He joined in 2021 after 10 years at doing transformational things at Nike and Jordan Brand. And his first sport, gymnastics. Welcome, Kalyn.
Oh, you're just gonna put it out there from the top, okay?
From the get. I might be a little bit more careful with my interrupting with you, my man. You are a professional football player and a beast. I'm also incredibly fond of you. It's been nice getting to know you. This is obviously one of the iconic brands. Obviously, so many that are on TikTok touch this brand, love this brand, interact this brand. So this I actually don't know. So let's go there. What has the journey been, KT, for Gatorade? Obviously you're in this realm fairly recently, so there was things obviously happening before you. Now you're here. What's the kind of quote unquote 411?
No, absolutely. One, echo the sentiment. Been a pleasure to get to know you and an honor to be here. Such an illustrious panel of speakers. For me, you're right. I joined last March. I'm coming up on a year and I'm still learning a ton. will qualify that. But really for Gatorade, we've talked a lot about over the past year, just this notion, such an historic brand, 50 years of heritage, backed by science, a massive sports fuel company, but we need to shift more to fueling sport culture has been the conversation. And so getting into the topic today, when you think about a opportunity like Tick-Tock and where we leaned into, it is that intersection of sports and culture. It is that intersection of creativity that there's just a ton of opportunity for us to take all that DNA and heritage and the athletes we work with and the conversation that we'd like to have and bring that into the language and experience that this next generation is seeking. So that's really the future. That's kind of what we're trying. That's what we're building towards.
What excites you about Tick-Tock?
I love the notion, you were alluding to it in the last conversation with Chris, going from the social graph to interest graph is a big part of it. And that's especially critical for us as we start to think about different sports and different ways in which consumers, athletes define themselves as an athlete or the sport. So we need to learn more about some of the emerging sports. So that's one piece. The other piece that's really, really exciting for me is this notion of, rather than having this two-way conversation that social introduced, now we're in a co-creation mode. So now we can actually unlock and unleash some of our most loyal consumers and athletes and fans to extend themselves and really drive another voice for the brand that, quite honestly, we ourselves can't do on our own. So being in a partnership with these creators, really understanding what are the types of conversations and creative they want to see from us and spaces we want to play in is also the unlock for us and what's super exciting.
How would you grade the brand on Tick-Tock right now? You know, obviously that's a tough question, grading your own homework. You have partners and internal people, but I think it's important for people to see like how leaders analyze their stuff. Like, how at the top of the marketing helm for this iconic brand, you feeling good where you're at? You know, you are a professional athlete. You were like, I'm sure you have. That means there's competitiveness. There's holding yourself to a standard. Like, do you guys think you're killing it? Are you worried? Do you think you're focused on some macro work, so you're just not getting to it, given, you know, how big brands sometimes, you know, I mean, you've gotten to know me. I think big brands underestimate the emerging and over fantasize of the past. Like, how do you grade Gatorade on the talk right now?
No, it's a great question. I think about it, and I'll go back to the athlete analogy. As an athlete, one thing that we're always doing is working on our craft. And you're at different stages of your development and your training at the different stages in life. And for us as a brand, Gatorade's very much so, we're at the beginning stages. We just picked up the weights. We're just running our first few sprints out on the field. And so we're trying to establish our foundation and really learn from the platform as we build and potentially get to a place where we are setting the standard across not only our space, but across the industry. So I'd say very much so we're at the beginning. I wouldn't give us a grade because I think we're doing amazing at what our training goals are for today. So our training goals are for today to become more familiar with the platform, understand the tools, and we've learned a ton. A lot of the conversation we're just having, how to show up in an authentic way, how to make sure that we are leveraging the creative economy and creative lens.
Are you thinking a lot about that? Like, hey, look at that dope video that got 4 million views with that kid that used Gatorade for it. Should we team up with kid over there? Is that some of the stuff going through your head?
Absolutely. That, and even like one of the things.
Do you actually, I'm sorry to interrupt everyone. Do you recommend for a lot of people listening here who are creators that love brands to just naturally do it? Because I know a lot of creators tell me, I love this brand, but I'm going to make them pay. If they're going to get something from me, I'm going to wait to get paid. I'm like, no, make something awesome with that Kit Kat bar. And then Kit Kat will come back and come. Like, do you think it's actually a smart strategic move for some people here that are wildly creative to just integrate big brands into their content with the knowledge that if a couple of them hit, they're going to be getting a phone call from that brand and saying, yo, let's dance?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, even back to what Chris was saying, whether you're on the brand side or the creator side, do what's most authentic to you and what you're passionate about. So if you love Gatorade, then the question around whether or not you should get paid almost shouldn't even be a question. Is if you represent, because we're looking for it, and ultimately, at least in our case, we're going to take care of it. And that was really what was at the heart of what was successful for us in Tick-Tock and our social squad. We reached out to the community and basically asked, who wanted to start this relationship with the brand, who felt like they could speak to it authentically. And I think it's an exact example of what you're saying, where it wasn't as much around transaction. It was setting up a relationship on how we wanted to partner with these creators in order to speak authentically on the platform.
Quick little left turn. What's your recommendation for people that are looking to pivot in their career? Right? Because you surely did that. Or the youngsters here who want to be, I mean, there's a lot of people freaking out about your hoodie, right? Gatorade is a super popular brand. You're the CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer. What about 2 minutes of advice for the kids or the 45-year-old kids? And what I mean by that in a good way is that youthful energy of like, I can still change my, I've been a lawyer, but I'm going to be the CMO of Gatorade one day. What's a good way to, in your opinion, get into the marketing field and get to the highest levels like you have?
One, I'm incredibly humbled. If you would have told my younger self that I would be in this position today to be CMO of Gatorade, to have an amazing career at Nike and Jordan, and all do that after playing a couple of years professionally for the Cowboys, I would not have believed you. I'd been like,
I was trying to keep the Cowboys part out because I know it's salty in Dallas right now, Kalen. It is salty out there.
No, I rep strong.
Strong.
But to answer your question, like, honestly, the best advice I ever got was chase the learning, chase the experiences, like figure out what it is that you want to have in terms of your own development, and don't worry about the role or the title or the job. Like that will come if you have enough intellectual curiosity. And I think as I've gotten older, one of the things that's similar advice that a lot of mentors give, but I think the other thing that I've appreciated now is like, what do you actually also have to unlearn, especially when you're getting into these new spaces where it might challenge the status quo of what you may have picked up along the way. And it's such a fine balance. And it also requires you to be completely self-aware, understand where you might have your own biases or philosophical differences. But I think that notion of being curious and intellectually learning is big.
Before I let you sleek out,
sure.
Biggest thing you've learned in the last, call it 36 months, that changed your perspective on a belief you had about marketing? Anything?
I think, I don't know if it changed my perspective on marketing, because I always knew change was a part of marketing. You always have to be up to speed. I don't think I quite fully appreciated how marketing and brands are going to fundamentally shift business drivers moving forward until I started understanding where the intersection of a company like Gatorade and what we do also well with supply chain is now meeting up with this digital frontier. And so we're talking a lot about marketing through the lens of TikTok today, but I think you're going to see a lot more platforms. I know you're an expert in all things metaverse and NFTs. I think that is fundamentally going to change the way we even define ourselves as marketers moving forward.
Marketing is a profit center.
Yep. 100%.
In the world. Great to see you, my friend.
You too. Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you, Kalen. Gary, next we're going to welcome Jeremy Padauer. He's the Chief Brand Officer at Jazwares. Squishmallows, Pokemon. It's pretty crazy, all the things that I've been learning from Jeremy. What I didn't know is that Jeremy sold his company, Wicked Cool Toys, and I'm hoping you're going to get into that a little bit. He's now recognized as one of the biggest faces in the business of play. He's an entrepreneur, toy industry executive, and a badass collector, among many things. Welcome, Jeremy.
Thank you so much.
Jeremy, I mean, look, you know this. I mean, when anybody who has a backdrop that is similar to the one I have in my office is always going to be somebody I love. It's been fun interacting with you through the years, brother. Nice to finally do something together. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about Jazwares first? Because I think some may not know it as much. They know the brands that are associated, but why don't we talk about that for 2 seconds and then we'll go into the TikTok question.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having me today. I feel like I'm representing the toy industry. Woo! So Jazwares is the 6th largest toy company, and we have been blowing up. Jazwares is 25 years old this year, founded by a guy named Judd Zabersky, who's a genius in our space. And through acquisition, as she mentioned, Wicked Cool Toys, and a lot of organic growth, focusing on brands like global partner for Pokemon, Roblox, Fortnite. We own Squishmallows. My goodness, Coco Melon, which is a brand that we found a few years ago when we focused on the social space. I mean, Jazwares has competed by focusing on areas that other people are not participating. And frankly speaking, everything in the toy industry is very much like fashion. It's trend-based. So we constantly are looking at change. We're constantly looking at pivoting to make sure that we capture what's the latest opportunities in the space. And look, even in your world, I mean, the NFT universe is part of that. We've been at the very forefront of that on the individual level as collectors, but also trying to identify how to extend that as a larger business opportunity, especially in the world where things are so decentralized and individual holders of NFTs can compete with the larger brand organization. So we are dealing with all of that right now. But the biggest, I would say, the thing that Jazwares does better than anyone else is that we don't just look for brands. We participate, we invest, we individually go after opportunities and just pour ourselves into it.
I love it. Talk to me about TikTok. Considering that you guys and gals are in the business of trends, and just obviously me spending a lot of time in that universe, you know, one, even for Squishmallow, which has been just such a monster hit. I don't think people, you know, anybody that knows in the comments, if you know what's going on with Squish, leave it so everybody else can see what's going on. Because if you're in it, you know. Was TikTok a big factor in that explosion? Was it not? What are you seeing in TikTok?
Well, you know, collecting and community go hand in hand. And it's just like, you cannot break that bond. If you don't have a community, you don't have a collection. It's not just about secondary market value. It's about who you have shared experiences with. And Squishmallows is quite possibly one of the greatest examples of collecting by community. Squishmallows originally was launched in 2017. It was a company called Kelly Toy, a guy named Jonathan Kelly. And when it was launched, it was literally another one of these just toy brands that was going to try it at Walgreens to see what happened. But this special, huggable, phenomenally identifiable character, which was the original Squish Squad Squishmallows, character of 8, blew out within 24 hours with no marketing.
Wow.
And immediately what was identified was, you know what? This is exactly the type of brand that if we seed it with enough YouTubers and enough, at the time, YouTube, Instagrammers, that something might happen. And it absolutely did. Sent it out to about 100 YouTubers, sent out the entire squad. And then what happened was in 2018-19, there was a migration from the investment in Facebook and Instagram into TikTok by the influencers themselves, identifying that that was going to be the next big medium. And we've had over 4 billion organic integrations with TikTok. So what we've learned is it's been as much about learning when not to spend money on marketing.
Yes.
And let the community drive as it has been to spend money on marketing, which has been
spending on marketing is always right when you spend good money.
Yeah.
When something's happening organically, there's nothing better. There's nothing better than when you make a hoodie and 4 famous people just find it in a shop. You haven't spent $1 on anything. You didn't have enough money to give samples to influencers, and they love because they love it and they wear it and they post on Instagram and your business takes off. Like nothing. There is not you could spend the best penny. Yeah. I've been very proud of how good I am at spending money on marketing because I'm always at the thing when it's underpriced.
Yes.
The best penny I ever spent on marketing for myself, for my dad, is not better than organic. Yes,
absolutely. And that has been, again, our lesson is that if we support the communities and we love the communities, we integrate ourselves with the communities, that they drive the messaging. And so while we are harnessing the power of that, we're not directing it. We're allowing and making sure that we clearly communicate that this is theirs. And we're simply fostering and ebbing and flowing with that. And frankly speaking, the way you run your business and looking at things like VFriends, it's a very similar philosophy.
When did you get TikTok personally? Just your own journey. You're busy, you got a lot going on. Like when did it really, and what was it that made you go, okay, this isn't 13-year-olds just dancing. There's something going on here.
Yeah, I think Charli D'Amelio dancing was the original. What TikTok is big. Mm-hmm. Wow, she's got 20 million followers now, 50 now, 100. But you start flipping, and the algorithm kind of figures you out, and it says, "Hey, Maybe you don't want to see dancing kids. Maybe what you're interested in is cooking, and what you're interested in is collectibles, and what you're interested in, and it figures you out. It is one of the smartest engines I've ever seen.
Interest graph.
It's brilliant because it knows you, it knows your interests, and it delivers it to you. And it's just day after day after day that information. Simple, very simple. So for me, what I recognize as a marketer is that it is the best dollar spent, because if the algorithm is that smart and it knows the consumer that well, then it's able to extend mentally what's the next thing they may be interested in participating in. And if it's collectibles, goodness, we know how to deliver those.
What was the first collectible, just for fun now, a couple of minutes left, first collectible that you entered your life?
So my brother's 13 years older than me. And
I'm 11 years older than AJ.
Oh,
and so many of the questions that I've heard AJ asked about sports or collecting or business always start with, well, my brother Gary's 11 years older than me. So that was a really funny moment for me.
Yeah, well, I had that same. I went to kindergarten the same day he went to college, but he made an indelible mark on my life. And when I was 3 years old, he took me to a flea market, and he bought me a penny that was 97 years old. And we communicated about when I was 6 years old, this was going to be 100 years old. And I will tell you that my entire life was shaped on that moment in terms of collecting. Like, I am a collector for life. And it's not just about the item. It's what goes beyond
the story. It's always the story. I was doing props and drops where I was talking about why I thought 2014 Namecoin, Bitcoin, and very early Ethereum 17, 18, 19 projects, how they were going to play out differently in 50 years than all the projects that are dropping now.
Yeah.
And I, in real time, was doing the show and went on eBay and pulled up that somebody sold yesterday a Valentine's Day card, just a Valentine's Day card from 1907 for $15. And the point I was trying to make is humans will always collect, and there will always, even if there's not a ton of demand, if you go old enough, it's going to just play out as meaning something. Yeah. And that the fact that this whole world is coming and it will evolve, and there'll be, I talk a lot about thinking a lot of things will collapse. There's so much going on in NFTs that are similar to Beanie Babies. People are only buying for the sake of the flip, means they're not falling in love with the characters, right? The community part's not there. The commerce part is. So, one of the reasons I think 98 to 99% are going to fail is they have the Beanie Baby thing. They can be hot for 3-4 months or a year even, but nonetheless, I totally understand the shaping of collectability and the fun. Grown-ups having fun with this stuff, collecting, is the trend of the last 5 years that people are missing. That there's a joy factor, a relationship factor of collecting cards. I think VHS tapes, why? You used to watch movies, like you could see the whole thing happening. No, Jerm?
Absolutely. Tickets, VHS, all of that. You could see it happening in real time.
Love you, buddy. Thanks for being on the show. We'll talk soon.
Okay.
Andrew, thanks for having me on. I know you guys have a killer lineup. Want to give some people the preview, because I know some people occasionally bounce off when I leave, but like the lineup's insane.
Oh yeah, it's incredible. So next up we've got the NFL, and we've got Ellie Zeeler, who's going to be joining in on that conversation. We've got the CMO from EOS, and a creator that they've done a lot of collaborations with, Carly Joy. We've got a whole bunch of creators. So Spencer X, the For Old Gays, Michael Lee. And then we're bringing Sophie Jameson back, the chief TikTok officer from Nerf. We want to hear what's up in her world as it continues to change. So don't leave anybody.
Bye, everyone.
We're sorry to see you go, Gary. All right, take it easy. So next up, we're going to welcome VaynerMedia's Peter Chun to the virtual stage. Hey, Peter, how's it going in California? Looks like it's a little sunny out there.
Yeah. Hey, Andrea. This is very fortunate to be out here, given the weather and the circumstances on the East Coast. So
yeah, fantastic. Well, super fired up to have our next guest join us. It is none other than Ian Trumbetta. He's SVP of Social Influencer and Content Marketing at the NFL. Ian has done a masterful job, if I can say, in really helping to transform a more modern approach at the NFL, and he's going to give us some tips and tricks on that. He oversees the integration of all things social and content for not only the league, but players and all of the club handles. So lots there, and has put a particular focus on Gen Z and youth audiences. So I will leave it to the two of you to get started. Thanks so much for joining.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andrea. Hey, Ian, great to see you again. Yeah, so excited for this, man. All right, so one of the things we discussed, and Gary alluded to this in some of the earlier sessions, is, you know, you are in a position where there's so much growth and impact that you've had, just not only in the TikTok platform to consumers, but also to advertisers. And in the spirit of trying to deliver some value, I think we're going to have really good conversations and nuggets for those that are on the brand side that are looking to lean in. So I actually would love to start with your origin story. So talk a little bit about your background. And I think it's really important because people will assume because you have the NFL logo that you'll just be successful on the platform. And it's actually the opposite. It's probably harder. And I think a lot of this comes from your background, your DNA. So I think it'd be super helpful to provide people a little bit of that context.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Peter. And I, first of all, just want to shout out all of you at Vayner. You guys do such an awesome job building this community and putting events like this on. So I just wanted to tell you how humbled I am to be a part of it. And thank you guys for having me on. As it relates back to my origin story, I was very fortunate. I started as an unpaid intern at Chiat Day in the late 90s and early 2000s, and was fortunate to get a job there. But that was a place that was really magical at the time. I mean, you had Apple there with Steve Jobs and launching iTunes and the Mac and so on. In addition to that, you had Taco Bell and the IOC. So just a very diverse slate of brands that were doing incredible world-class work. So that was a really foundational time for me to be there and learn from some of the best, like Lee Clow. I mean, he would spend time with us as young account people and teach us about what he was thinking about from a creative strategy perspective and so on. As the years went on there, I had a great run at Chiat. There was a brand, this quirky Austrian brand called Red Bull that was popping up all over the city. It was very mysterious and weird. I mean, it was in the clubs, and you'd see the sampling cars around, and you started seeing these grassroots events popping up. And my friends and I were really taking note of it. And one of my buddies from Chiat actually went to go work for Red Bull, and he kept telling me for months that you've got to come over here. We're rewriting the playbook for marketing and this space and inventing a new category, this energy drink category. So I declined initially, but after about 6 months of seeing what was going on, I took the flyer and actually went over to work together with Red Bull and help out with their advertising and marketing. And at that time, I think there was about 30 people in the North American headquarters, just to give you a sense of how small it was at that time. And it was just a tremendous experience. So learning about grassroots events, on-premise marketing, understanding really how to do athlete marketing in some of these niche sports at scale, just a tremendous opportunity. So while we were there, I had a couple of different stints. Gaming became a vertical. Gaming became a vertical for us, and Activision was one of the partners we were working with. And I fast forward in 2014, they offered me a role, and that role was to work across titles in a variety of different ways, and was fortunate to learn all about launching titles, and through our CMO Tim Ellis, this idea of big entertainment marketing tied to always on engagement. That was a really big part of how we marketed those games. And then when Tim took the job at the NFL as a CMO, he offered me a great position, and I'm a huge sports fan. I mean, I'm as big of a Steelers fan as probably Gary is a Jets fan. And when the opportunity came over for me to help out and really look at what we're doing from a youth perspective, what we were doing from a Gen Z perspective across social and influencer, I had to jump at the chance. So for the last 3 years, I've been here at the NFL overseeing social influencer and content marketing. And it's been terrific.
Yeah. So really, I mean, Red Bull in its day, today it's such a commonplace brand. But in its heyday, when it was ramping up, it was an unknown brand. It was very grassroots with culture and community. So really, you've been at the forefront of really being part of companies that have been disruptors in the space. Obviously, Activision being another part of that. So it's great to hear a lot of this isn't just the logo. A lot of it isn't just kind of the reputation a brand might have on Instagram. A lot of it is really just staying close to the community, the culture you're trying to get to. So let's talk a little bit about TikTok and how TikTok came to the NFL. Right. I mean, it feels obvious, but the NFL's been cutting deals with every other major social platform for a long time. So it feels like maybe there was a moment early on where there was a little bit of a bet that you took on yourself and the organization to say, we have to invest into TikTok. Tell us a little bit about that moment, because I feel many brands are on the precipice of coming in, but feel a little bit of risk and a little bit of concern, and your experience might be able to help them over the edge.
Sure. Yeah. So when I started at the NFL, there were 3 big observations that I had. The first one was that there was an opportunity to broaden the storytelling beyond the field with players. And to do that, social was going to play a key role in that, right? You know, independent of platform, we really needed to leverage that and understand ways that we could supercharge that. The second one was that we needed to rebuild a structure internally that could scale. Internally, we didn't have a structure that could take on a TikTok effectively, or take on, you know, some of these new emerging platforms really well. And the third was building direct relationships with influencers that were more social influencers. So think FaZe Clan versus Bradley Cooper, right? And I was much more interested in going after the FaZe Clan than necessarily going after Bradley Cooper, because we could drive always on engagement. Now, where were those people spending most of their time? Increasingly, it was, you know, platforms like Instagram, platforms like Twitter, and then obviously TikTok emerged in 2019. So we wanted to be on that platform before it really reached a huge scale, and we were basically losing out on that audience. And so 2019, we launched pretty quietly, I would say. We were testing some things, and quickly we found out that the game highlights were not really what was driving the platform. It was all of this ancillary content off the field, the humor-based content, the content that was really focused on storytelling through personality. That was resonating to the top. So we really leaned into it that way. And I give my team a great amount of credit. We have functional experts that are on the platform every day and understand it very intimately. And that's, I think, super, super important.
Yeah, I think one of the things I've observed is how nitty gritty you folks are in the comments. And a brand like the NFL engaging with an individual that might have no followers on the platform is what has allowed you to find those opportunities to get close to culture. Let's talk a little bit about culture and how you think about creators and finding creators that allow you to speak authentically to the community. Let's get into that. And of course, I want to bring on Emily Z after that.
Absolutely.
To the moment.
So for us, I mean, our influencer program and what we do on the platform is really designed to build direct relationships. And how can we benefit the creator or the influencer in a way that we're using our brand scale, the league scale, to help build their brands, right? And how can we do that in ways that are accretive for both, right? Them bringing new audiences to us and vice versa, right? We bring a ton of scale and opportunities with access and so on around our games or otherwise that could be really interesting to them for great content opportunities. So as we do that, TikTok is obviously very interesting. I think it's fantastic. We're all these amazing creators. We're going to talk to one here in a minute. They're emerging, and they're emerging very quickly. So just having your finger on the pulse of that is super important. I've got an amazing team, again, that does that and identifies who these creators are. We keep an eye on them, and we see how they're posting. We want to make sure that they're staying in a lane that's positive, that we're not going after anything negative or tearing down, any teams or individuals. And then once we have a level of comfort, the team will come up with ideas on ways that we can engage them. And obviously, Emily's a great example, but one of many that we've been working with over this past year. We're going to continue to scale that up.
Yeah, I mean, to that end, let's bring Emily on.
Hi guys.
Hey Emily,
how are you?
Good. How are you?
Amazing. I'm expecting the comments to go pretty nuts right now. But why don't we just do a quick intro? You can give a quick 30-second intro, not that you necessarily need one, but it'd be helpful context for this crew because you're so multidimensional. And then I want to jump to a sizzle reel that actually talks about the partnership you and the NFL, you and Ian have effectively put together, which I think is one of the best we've seen. So please go.
That's crazy. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Ellie Zeeler. I make ugly logos on TikTok.
They're beautiful.
I mean, beautiful. Sorry. I started on TikTok last year, just kind of goofing around. I found some success with satire content. My first satire video I ever made Barstool Sports. So that was like, oh, there's some potential here. And then in September, the logo thing blew up, and now I'm on this beautiful show. So it's crazy.
And you actually redesigned our marketing for the Now logo. So if everyone is out there, check out the LinkedIn page. You can see how she blessed us with this piece of work that we may or may not convert into an NFT, call it a day. But we won't talk about that. But you folks have done a pretty incredible and very organic partnership. And I think it speaks to a lot of what Ian discussed earlier around structure, infrastructure, and being close to culture. And of course, you just doing what you do. So let's play this quick video for the audience, and then I think it'll set up the follow-up combo we have.
I graduated college with a degree in design and recently redesigned some logos that I thought needed help. After going through the comments, a lot of large brands reached out to me for a new logo, so I said yes. A really bad logo. This is my redesign of Adobe. I really think I blew it out of the park. Like a waste of space to me. So this is your new logo. Niffle reached out to me. They do sports like football and such. So I redesigned it in a much more patriotic way. I'm pretty sure he is the president of the football in America.
Thanks to Emily, we now have this beautiful new logo for the Niffle. And because we are the Niffle, we also wanted to lend our resources to Emily. Just like Emily, I have a passion for graphic design, and I thought her profile picture could use some spicing up. So I did some digging and thought this best represents you. And also a name tag, because I'm just not good with names.
Next, I did Detroit's football team, the Lions, and I don't really understand your logo. So I just cleaned it up, and this will look a lot nicer on jerseys, helmets, merchandise.
What a lion at? They don't even say lion. Detroit.
That's so good. So if we can, like, what made this partnership so valuable in my mind is how authentic it was. It was clearly authentic. You're getting hit up by brands all the time. What was it about the NFL that stood out? What was it about how Ian's team was connecting with you? If it was something else, what was it that made you gravitate towards it? And then Ian, would love to get your thoughts on just giving freedom and letting Emily do her thing. You know, NFL is such a heritage brand, and just being free and letting the creator do her thing here, I think is a really important takeaway.
Sure.
I think it was sort of when all of this was blowing up, I wanted to sort of test the limits and see how big of a response we could get with it. So the NFL is like, everybody knows the NFL, you know what I mean? So I just threw them in there. I thought, hey, why not? And I think people responded in such a positive way because they met me where I was at. With the type of content that I make, even my like personality, the delivery was just so fantastic. I loved your video. And I think people responded in such a positive way because we built this fantastic relationship off of like a joke. I think people just responded in such a positive way and loved to see the NFL just collabing with some random TikToker and being able to sort of, poke fun at their own brand.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, Emily and Peter. I think looking at TikTok, understanding that there's a self-mocking nature to it, creativity and humor are at the center. So if you're going to play on the platform, you have to be ready to embrace that. So that is really central to having a great team. A big shout out to Shannon and Kylie and Josh and team for putting it together. And they came to me with it, and we decided, hey, what's the worst that can happen here? And ultimately, this was not going to kill the NFL if it didn't go well. It was worth the risk, if you want to call it that. And I think that's really, as a brand, you have to do that analysis for yourself. Is that something that you're going to embrace a level of risk and really take the tone that is on TikTok, especially humor, self-mocking nature, creativity. And if you're not going to do that, I'd really question what you're going to do, especially with creators like Emily, because we wanted to share a bit of a sandbox for her to create, and then obviously come back at her in a playful way that was also in her style.
So a couple takeaways: let the creator have his or her freedom. Don't take your brand too seriously, and kind of live into the culture. So really, really valuable. All right. And we have about, 6 minutes or so, and I want to spend a little bit of time talking about you and some of your work. And one of the things that stands out is this idea of episodic content, which we believe that Vayners are such an important thing. We think 2022 is going to be a really big year of short, long form, et cetera, but branded content in this episodic type of way. Can you talk a little bit around your thinking and the approach to the logo design? Was it one of many ideas? How did that go? And did it immediately explode, or did it require a lot of commitment to it to really kind of build that out?
Yeah. So I think I experimented with episodic content really early on in my TikTok career. So sort of how I mentioned before, how my satire videos would do pretty well because I would play this almost dumb blonde character and people would feed into it. And I just thought it was the funniest thing. And eventually though, some of the comments, they were hurting my ego. So I was like, okay, there are some people who know this is a joke. Some people don't think it's a joke. So how can I bring this to the next level? And eventually, this is what really grew my relationship with my audience too. I started to make these comment reading videos where I would choose the best comments, just the funniest. And I saw that people would want to come back for those, and they loved it. They wanted to see the next one. So the logo design was just another idea I had of maybe some graphic designers will see this and be like, what is she doing? That is not how you do it. And it kind of blew up right away. I think just the sheer number of brands that were commenting on it, I think that was what made it crazy. I think alone the concept is pretty funny, but just the fact that so many brands were behind it and were jumping in, and wanted to kind of be in on the joke. The comment section was just like, no man, like it was a free for all. It was so fun though. It was great.
I mean, to the point around the fake accent, I don't know how many folks here know the Ellen story, but you should give everyone here a little bit of that. Yeah.
So, if you've ever seen my TikToks, I don't smile. I don't laugh. I have a pretty dry sense of humor on TikTok, but my whole concept behind that was I went to art school, so I wanted to be the person that like annoyed me in art critiques. So I tried to channel that and just be that person that everybody kind of looks at and is like, are they serious? So yeah, in real life, I smile, I laugh, I have a personality. And when I got the call for the Ellen show, there was an idea thrown out where they said, hey, you should be like your TikTok persona. And I didn't sleep for like 3 days after that because I think it works very well on TikTok, but to be in a space where I'm speaking to somebody and I can't edit it the way I want to, I can't cut it. I was freaking out. And eventually I got the green light that I could just smile and be myself. So that really calmed my nerves.
Yeah. As we think about TikTok and we, earlier we heard some of the guests speak about the algorithm, how the algorithm is so different, and speak a little bit about that challenge potentially as a creator, because I know even our creators and others that we work with find that to be inconsistent. But any tips and advice around how to deal with that as a creator?
Yeah. I think, at the end of the day, you really can't get too married to one concept, because the way that TikTok works and society works, trends come and go. So I think you definitely should enjoy any success that you do have, but don't be afraid to branch out and try new things, because why not? I don't know. I mean, there's just so much potential on the app, and there's so many things that you could do with it. So also, I think branching out to different forms of social media is really important, because the TikTok algorithm can be great sometimes, and then other times it can be like, what's going on? If you're trying to switch up your content and try a new concept. So I think branching out to other forms of media is really important.
It's a great point, because TikTok is now everywhere.
Yeah.
And so, are you looking at other platforms, whether it's Snap or IG Reels or YouTube Shorts, and where we could potentially find you?
Yes, all of the above. I'm doing my absolute best to grow anywhere that I can. I'm going to start streaming on Twitch soon and uploading to YouTube also. So that's in the future, and I'm excited. And I'm thankful for TikTok to give me this platform too.
Fantastic.
Well, looks like, go ahead, Andrea.
Thank you, Emily, Ian, and Peter. This was remarkable. It's really nice to hear the back and forth, and love all the work that you've done. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Phil.
See you soon. And thank you, Peter. And next up, we welcome Britney Diamond from Vayner. Can you believe it? TikTok Thursday, Britt?
TikTok Thursday. Could it get better than that?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's going to get even better in just a second, because we've got the CMO of EOS Products who's going to be joining you. Can you believe it, Britt? How often do we talk about her and all the work that we do?
Her ears must be ringing.
I think they are. Okay, so let's bring her on. Her name is Soyoung Kang. I have to share one. I love Soyoung. You can tell she loves to take risks, but there's a story that she shared with us that I think is a must tell, because I think it's something that she embraces in her day-to-day work life as well. So while Soyoung was on a backpack trip and she was piranha fishing in the Amazon River, she happened to fall into the water. So I think that says something right there about how she goes about her life. So I'm going to now depart from this conversation and let you guys take it from here.
I love it.
Hey,
I'm so excited for this. You have no idea. Andrea already said it, but we talk about you weekly, if not many times a week. We've been following you ever since the interaction that you had with Carly, which we'll go over in a little. But EOS is just so great on TikTok. Stalk them, follow them, love it all. So can't wait for everyone to get little nuggets of wisdom from you.
Well, I'm super excited to be here. Thank you.
Of course. So I guess we can start with, what's your overall philosophy on social as a whole?
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, social is hugely important for us as a brand. You probably already know, but most of our consumers are relatively young. So we really just sort of like live and breathe social across multiple platforms. And we do consider it our superpower. I mean, we focus a lot on it. We are constantly engaging with folks. We learn a lot on it. We listen, and we try to learn things that are going to drive our business and drive our brand.
I love that. And organizationally, would just love to know, what were you brought onto EOS to do, and what was really your mission when you joined?
Yeah, so I joined EOS about 3.5 years ago. I'm the first ever chief marketing officer for this business. It's existed for a little over a decade, but they really brought me in to see the brand into the next phase of growth. I mean, the first 10 years were amazing in terms of growth through largely this super famous lip balm that the brand is known for. And then really the leadership wanted to bring someone in to kind of say, hey, how do we expand? How do we stand for something more than this famous product that people are obsessed with? And that's really been my mandate. And I think we're talking about TikTok, and a lot of that has happened on TikTok. So TikTok has been very good for growing our brand and diversifying beyond what we used to stand for.
I was just going to say, so would love for you to give a little overview about what you're doing on TikTok and really how you started there. I mean, it sounds like you were out to get it from the get-go. So once it came up, it's no surprise that you were there. And yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's really interesting because I've been listening to all the sessions, and I think it's interesting that everyone who's spoken so far has talked about the fact that they've been on TikTok since pretty early on for brands. We're sitting here, and I'm sure there are a lot of marketers right now who are wondering when it's time to jump in, and I say, there's no time like the present. So we started looking at TikTok, like many of the other speakers, back in 2018, and we first started to really market on TikTok, build a presence, deliver organic content, build our own community in 2019 as well. I myself have been pretty active on TikTok, not as a creator, but as a user, as a consumer of TikTok since 2018 as well. And so for us, I really do think that like the brands that have taken that leap of faith into platforms that they believe could be really integral to their brand and reaching their consumer, I think just like getting in it and doing it and taking some risks and jumping in, even if you don't know exactly what you're doing yet, there's no better way to learn and then ultimately like hone your game.
I will say, we work with a lot of brands, and also just overall, when something new comes along, it's scary, right? Like TikTok is scary. What was it like? Were there any barriers in getting on the platform because it was so new and it was so different? And, brands are acting different on TikTok than they are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. What do you go through?
Well, I mean, we've always had a big social following. So we have like millions of followers across Facebook and Instagram. But the thing is, every platform is different. And then your approach really needs to be different. And you need to tailor your content depending on like the nuances of that platform, the audience, the algorithm, all of the above. But there's really no better way to refine your strategy than to do it and to learn. And so for us, there were a lot of things that were maybe a little bit bumpy in the initial phases. At the time, we were actually doing a lot directly with the TikTok team. Like they helped us license music. They helped us like discover creators. So there were things that, if I think back to our first activation versus like our more, recent marketing efforts on TikTok, it has changed a lot dramatically, but we've changed a lot too. And we've learned so much in the course of that, like almost 3 years, where I think, have learned what works for us. Yep. We've tried a lot of things. Every time we run a campaign and we do something new, we basically set up something different so that we can try something new that we've never done before, whether it's like the concept, whether it's the type of creator that we work with, whether it's like even just like the mix between the organic versus the paid. So we're always mixing things up, always trying to learn new things. And as a result, I feel like we packed in like so much learning in what's actually been a relatively short period of time.
Always be learning.
Yeah.
If you can take anything away, everyone, always be learning and always be testing. From that, would you say that your voice or even your content has differed on TikTok than it is on, let's say, Instagram?
100%. I mean, 100%. Like, so we talk about, I think a lot of the folks who've spoken have talked about the fact that like, you can't take yourself too seriously on TikTok. People can sniff out inauthenticity like from a mile away. And so being authentic, being real, being goofy. One of my team members actually recently said to me as we were like hindsighting our annual performance, she was like, as a brand, we're not afraid to get weird. And she meant that as like the hugest compliment. And I think nothing exemplifies that more than our TikTok content strategy. We're not afraid to get weird. We're not afraid to get real. We're not afraid to use the language and like that people use in their day-to-day, because on TikTok, more than I would say on any other platform that we've ever engaged on, we're part of the community. We're not just a brand talking at people.
Yep. And I would say, and Emily alluded to it, but the comment section is just gold. Gold lurks in the comment section. So you're either going to get a lot of haters if you're inauthentic, or you're going to get a lot of love in.
Completely. I completely agree with that.
I love it. All right. Before we even show, Carly's video, I would love for you to give 3 to 5 traits that other companies can embody to, move at the speed of culture and really do how much you've done in such a short amount of time.
I think that the appetite for risk has to be there. So being brave and feeling comfortable leaning in, I think has to be there. And I think that starts at the leadership level, but it has to really be at the working team level as well. And so bravery, I think, is one thing. But the only way that you can really help your team and your organization be brave is if you create an environment where it's okay for people to learn and sometimes succeed and sometimes fail. And so that level of like that learning mindset has to be there. And then the last piece is, in order to have that learning mindset, you really have to create a sense of trust within your team. Trust that if like I said, like something doesn't work, that it's really a learning opportunity versus a mark against them. Yeah. So those are really the kind of the hallmarks, I think, of any really great team that learns a lot and learns fast and grows.
I love it. Well, before we bring on Carly, would love to show the video that really jump-started one of the most amazing interactions I have seen on TikTok. I blush a little every time I watch it, so everyone watching, you might too. You're not alone. I can't wait.
For my my people with female parts out there, I'm about to tell you the secret for how to bless your fucking cooch. You need this shit. It is an absolute blessing, and you can dry shave with this. That's fucking saying something. I use the fat ass Venus Gillette razors. I obviously cannot show my cooch on camera, so pretend this is it, right? You're gonna take this, hopefully in the shower. If you're not, fuck it, it still works. You're gonna put that all there, then listen to this fucking part. You're gonna go down first. Then you're gonna go sideways on half of it this way, sideways on half of it this way, and then you go up. I swear by it. Whatever you fucking do not use this shit. It'll make you smell like shit after a couple days because it throws off your pH balance. Don't fucking do it. And now you have a smooth ass hoo-ha. You're welcome.
I love it. Carly, I love it so much. Every time I watch it, it literally never gets old.
Every time I see it, I'm like, oh my God, I really said that.
It's amazing. Oh my goodness. And, you know, I need to know, you put out a TikTok like that. It's the new demo. I'm calling it the modern demo, right? It's no longer boring. It's no longer a brand talking at you, but it's a real person giving them their real review. But how surprised were you, or were you surprised that this blew up as big as it did?
Well, okay, so at first, I wasn't as big of a content creator back then, but, you know, I still had videos that, like, probably every, like, once a month, a video would get a couple million likes. But so at first I was like, oh, you know, it's normal, like, I'm cussing, I'm being funny, whatever. And then it just kept going. And it just kept going and going and going, and I was like, oh my God, like, wait, hold on. So yeah, after a little bit, I was like, I can't believe people want to listen to me talk about shaving your, you know, like, that much. But yeah, it was cool. It was surprising.
That's amazing. I have to say, it came up on my For You page. So I'm the demo, right? I love it. I need to know, well, for everyone here, that was obviously an original video from Carly. But what did EOS do after this TikTok blew up, Carly? How did they respond? And did that even take you to a level 2 of like, wow, this has gone way too far, and now it's really up on a mountain?
So normally, I don't do sponsorships or partnerships with brands or anything because I think that, like you said, they're inauthentic, and I don't like not being able to be myself on camera. But when they sent me, hold on, I actually have one here. When they sent me the personalized bottles, this says, am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah, go get them.
All right. This says, bless your fucking cooch on the front. You need this shit. You can dry shave with it. That's fucking saying something. And the back is all the original instructions. And I really wasn't even like considering the partnership until I saw that. And then I was like, oh my God, like, holy crap. And then, yeah, that's definitely the only reason I like went with it, because I realized like this brand is willing to like let me just be myself.
Oh my God, I can't even tell you, Brittany. Like, we were desperate to get in touch with Carly Joy, like desperate. So basically, we did all of this within like days. Like, we created all custom, rebranded, repackaged bottles with all her words on it. It was like the thirstiest move that a brand has ever like attempted, and we were basically like trying to get her attention. That's literally the reason why we did it. We duetted her video, and that's when she replied to us and reached back out to us, and then we were able to collaborate together. And it was so authentic on her side, and that's what I like love about it. I mean, like, she is so herself, and that's what that's what really resonated with people. And the fact that we could then celebrate her authenticity and her amazing like actual educational advice on how to, you know, bless your cooch. Like, that was something that was such the golden opportunity for us. But it was totally a desperate move for us. That's where this all originated from.
Well, I just love that you used her words, right? And also totally leaned into Carly, like you said, the cursing, just like the whole thing. It was so authentic on both of your parts, right? And I think that that the fact that you made that so quickly, products take how long to get on shelves, and you were able to turn that out so quick is just so awesome, and really shows how fast your organization really moved. But I need to know, what were the results from this? I know there probably is a little bit of a perception problem of like it's only a lip balm, which you alluded to a little bit earlier, but now it's being seen as this amazing shaving cream. What did this do for EOS, and what were the results even in sales for it?
Yeah, so we literally, coming out of this collaboration with Carly Joy, we basically doubled our shave business sales. Now it's like a blessing and a curse, because we doubled our sales and then we actually ran out of product. We were sold out on shelves everywhere. Like if you look at like TikToks and Twitter commentary, people are like, I'm desperate to bless my cooch, but I cannot find the shave cream anywhere. So the results are unbelievable. Our business continues to be up, continuing to ride that momentum. So for anybody who is doubtful about whether TikTok can influence and impact your sales, I mean, this absolutely proves that with the right partnership, with the right creator, with the right authenticity, it can really move the needle on your business.
And this blows me away, because it didn't come from content straight from your brand. It was complete community management and like keeping your finger on the pulse, seeing what people are saying about you. I like to say that community management is the most important thing that you can do, especially on TikTok. And this is obviously a case of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw Carly Joy's content like right away. I don't even know if you tagged us on it, Carly Joy. Like, I think it just like came across our For You pages. And then we were trying to reach out to her because we were just like, like in love with what she was doing. And our response was really our way for her to grab her attention, because we had no other way to get in touch with her. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. The insights come through building a community, building an authentic community, to always having your ear to the ground and listening to what's happening on the platform. And then if you're really fast and you lean in, you can really take advantage of it as a marketer and take that moment and turn it into momentum for your business.
Nice. I know we only have 1 more minute left, but one more question for you. And that is, beyond just TikTok, beyond the what you're doing on that platform, did Carly's content help you do any other tactics in marketing for the actual shave cream?
I mean, yeah. So we launched this on our website. Like, we had an entire like D2C campaign that went on around this. So this was like living across all of our platforms, not just on TikTok. And then really it opened up this dialogue, because the thing that I think I really have to give Carly Joy huge credit for, the way that she's taking a topic that people are curious about and they want to be educated on, and like just being real about it. And that's what was like beautiful about like the content, is like, yeah, like I want to know how to shave my cooch. Like nobody taught me that. Like, so Carly Joy's going to teach me that on TikTok. And so like for us, that's also enabled just for our brand to embrace a more open, real, and authentic approach to education with our consumers more broadly. And so even subsequently, we've had like additional content that we've launched in other campaigns where we're just like, it's like real talk, and it's solving real problems for people, but not in like that sort of like hesitant corporate speak, but in real people's words. And that's what I really loved about Carly Joy's content. It's actually made an impact on our brand.
Yeah. I mean, I could only imagine also Google, just how many people were Googling blessed by cooch, Yes.
It was the number one search term on our site for quite some time. Cooch cream on our site. Everybody was searching for cooch cream. Some people were searching for couch cream.
Oh, just a little bit of a typo. I love it. Well, thank you both so much for joining. This was amazing. And I mean, I'm going to be talking about you every week. So if your ears are ringing, you know why.
We so love this. This is so great. Thanks to you both for joining. Excellent. We're going to welcome Peter Chun back to the virtual stage. And we have a special guest, Peter. Guess who's coming back?
I cannot wait.
Jameson, the Chief Tick-Tock Officer of Nerf. Sophie, we're so excited to have you. We want to hear all about what's been going on since the last time we had a chance to talk to you. So I'm going to let you guys dive right into it.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Sophie, welcome back.
Thank you.
I know you've got so much going on in every good way. So you got to give a little bit of that tea and goss to this audience. But for those that may not be familiar with you, you were, and I still think you still are, the only chief TikTok officer that exists, which actually speaks to how slow the market is moving into kind of the space. But tell us a little bit around your role. Just do like the quick 30-second for those that are not aware, and a little bit of the origin story that got you there, which actually speaks volumes to Hasbro as an organization, Nerf as a brand, believing in the platform and the community.
Yeah, I'll keep it short, but just had my own TikTok channel, just posting what I enjoyed. You know, I was excited to get 10 followers. Didn't really care about that. Was just creating content that I liked. Then kind of blew up. Nerf created this position, Chief TikTok Officer. It was super unique to apply. You had to make a TikTok video. So I applied, of course, and then got the job. It was supposed to be a max temporary gig for 3 months. And we're now on month 9 with no end in sight. So.
And it's been almost 5 months since we last had you on this to kind of talk about you and some of the stuff you're working on in the world of TikTok. That's an eternity. So what's been going on? What's been keeping you busy, and how things have evolved, and what's changed even within the organization and how you think about the platform?
Yeah, absolutely. So personally, I've just been given so much more responsibility on the Nerf team, which is fantastic. I'm actually like posting the content now. Before I was just creating it and then sending it through. Now I'm logging in a TikTok, posting it, and I'm creating videos months in advance. Of course, there's times when you got to move at the speed of culture. So you got to change the scheduling around and post a trend that day. But otherwise, you know, our calendar is nicely extended. Still posting on my channel, just keeping up with trends. And I've just learned so much about so many things over the past 9 months. It has just been incredible.
Yeah, the last time you were on, there were 3 things you really, really blessed the audience with. One, which is 25% of TikToks you produced were actually successful. 2, you had anywhere between 3 to 5 people full-time working within comments. And then the third thing was that, you know, the company was still very hurt naturally, right? When there was negative commenting on the platform, and that was like a little bit of tension. Are those 3 things still holding up? How has that evolved? Let's add to the list and provide a little bit more fuel for those that are watching and leaning in.
Absolutely. Yeah. So a couple more pieces of information that I've really seen work successfully is being the face of this brand has just been integral to getting people to watch the videos. You get 1 to 2 seconds when people are scrolling through their For You page. So if they see me, this is not to sound hubris, but if they see me, they know Nerf. So they're like, oh, it's Sophie Lightning. It's a Nerf video. I'm going to watch it. So you get this immediate hook and context that you don't get if you're having a random creator every day, you know, doing a separate video. People already have a little bit of keyed in information as to what's happening. I've also really been paying attention to average watch time. I think that that's crucial. And most importantly, just not getting stuck up on follower and view count. I've really hit this point where just looking at analytics and sales and ROI, it's so much more important to have 100 people who love what you're doing and watch every TikTok and are passionate versus 1 million really passive viewers who are just, you know, kind of along for the ride. So changing what we're valuing as a company when we're analyzing the channel has been so integral.
So relevancy over reach, and really focusing on that. You know, it's funny. We talked a little bit with Ellie Zugay about episodic content, and obviously part of that is her being the spokesperson. We've seen a lot of push into the mascot space, you know, with a lot of different companies. You might have a hot take on that, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I got hot takes this time. Last time I was a little shy. No, hot takes today.
We're family. Let's go.
No, a mascot can be great. It does like kind of key in viewers to what's happening. But there is, one channel, I think we all know it, that is doing phenomenal things with their mascot. And I see 15 to 30 carbon copies of that. That's just not going to work. When you're looking at literally anything, what matters is your channel and what your viewers want to see. So if you're just copying somebody else, it's not going to work. So you can have a mascot, but the scandalous mascot is already kind of taken, so moving away from that, having someone be the face of the brand can be great. It can be a mascot, somebody that viewers can connect with, but you got to make sure that your mascot has its own individual personality.
So what's some advice to help brands think through that? Because it's easy to jump to a mascot. They think about it through the lens of their brand. They think about it in the lens of how it makes their brand better. They're not necessarily thinking about how the brand can connect with the community. That's always a second thought, which we see as most marketers mistake coming into the platform is they introduce what they think their brand should be versus connecting with how the community's speaking with the brand. But if a brand is going down the mascot route, like what are some things to avoid and perhaps a couple things that they should lean into?
I mean, definitely just listening to your community is so crucial here. Reading the comments and creating a personality for this mascot that your viewers want to see. And once again, not copying. Like, I just think that that's so important, and just having
company will be named, will not be named yet, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not calling anybody out, but yeah.
Got it. So let's talk a little bit about some of the trends that are different today than even 90 days ago or when you were last on. I mean, there's so much that's happening to the platform. The platform has more or less doubled. What are you seeing? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. More hot takes. I see a lot of brands building their entire TikTok personality around trends. Although it is crucial to implement trends occasionally, you got to really hand select them and create them only when they truly fit into your content and your channel. If you build your whole image around trends, everybody does trends. Why do I want to follow another channel that just does trends? It's the same exact thing. Why do I want to follow your channel if you're just posting ads, if you're just reposting videos from other social media channels, So it's just that type of thing of diversifying, and trends can be so powerful if you do them correctly. So you just have to understand how your brand and how your niche fits into the trend and really think about it before you want to do it. And keeping an eye on that time. If you're late to the trend, you're late, and you just got to accept it and move on and find the next trend. If you're early, you got to take the risk. If you think it's going to get big, do it before it gets big. It's so much better to do that and flop than doing it late and flopping, At least you tried.
Yeah. There's hindsight's always 2020, but yeah, we talk a lot about brands that want to jump into a trend that may even be 2 or 3 weeks old, and it actually just shows you how slow and how not contemporary the brands actually are.
It actually hurts.
You have to understand it. Like you're in the corporate seat, right? So in the brand's mind, 2 to 3 weeks is speed, but at the speed of culture, it's late, and I think that's something that I think a lot of brands get caught up with. Let's talk a little bit about creators, because you were a creator. Then you went brand side. Talk a little bit about how you work with creators today and how that conversation starts to move. But also, we are at the precipice of the creator economy, right? Like Instagram is going to deploy majority of their $1 billion that they committed to the creator fund this year. YouTube, TikTok, Snap, everyone $100 million. As creators start to become more integrated with corporate, as they become more integrated with creative organizations within some of these agencies and companies because of just the endemic nature of what they do, and they can speak to the consumer, how should they be thinking about that transition potentially, and any other words of advice as those creators want to make the leap?
Definitely. So, for me, I'm still a creator at heart. And although I'm working on the corporate side, I still have my own channel, but I also still am just a creator for the brand. And Nerf had this monumental decision to make. We had people apply for this position, CTO, that had 10 times as many followers as me. So they had to go and choose between the authentic person who is known for Nerf or the person with the following. And I think that's already been kind of covered throughout previous guests earlier today, but just picking the creator that is authentic and actually enjoys the brand, you can tell. It's so silly. You can tell when the creator isn't enjoying what they're doing. You have to give them trust. You can't keep them on a short leash. you can't tell them what they should produce. I feel like creating an actual influential video on TikTok is all about being actually passionate about what you're talking about. So if somebody came to me right now with a script for a TikTok video and was like, I'll pay you $1 million, I would say, no, I'm not doing that. I would hate it. It would not represent who I am. And I think a lot of other creators agree with that, as well as just overall success rate. It's just not going to be as successful.
Sophie, thanks so much for taking time, joining us again. We're going to have you on again in 5 months to bless us with more insight on trends. Incredibly
Great idea.
grateful.
Let's lock her in now.
Yes, let's do it before she gets even bigger.
That's right.
Thanks,
Let's
Sophie.
go.
Thanks, guys.
Fantastic. Next, we will welcome Ryan Harwood to the virtual stage. Ryan, how are you doing?
How's it going?
Oh, good. I'm excited. You're going to take us home, the final lap of marketing for the now, where we're going to hear from a whole slew of exciting creators. So thank you for that. And first up, we've got Spencer X. He's a beatboxer, director, and internet personality. He is one of the largest original sound creators on TikTok with over 1,000 original sounds, billions of views, and over 50 million followers. And I happen to say, I love your life motto, persistence, patience, and possibility. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for having me here.
I love it. Spencer, what's up, my man?
Man, living the life of a beatboxer, man. Just here in Los Angeles now, missing my home in New York City.
New York City misses you as well. Well, thanks for joining us today. I appreciate your time. You know, before I jump into the world of TikTok with you, you know, you've been a creator for a long time. Tell me, what was the first platform that you started creating content on before I shift gears to the TikTok space?
Yeah, what a loaded question, man. That's I've been doing beatboxing since like 15 years now. So first time I created content was on YouTube. I want to say it was like in 2000, and I have actually a previous YouTube that I've had before the YouTube that you see right now, because that one was created in 2012 when I was in an a cappella group. Okay. But I started like in 2008, man. Back in like 2008, 2009. And that was the first time I found out about the internet, really. Like it was like not actually, but it was the first time I used the internet as a resource to widen my perspective about the world. Totally. And that's that. You just threw me back right now.
And when TikTok came on your radar, were you fast to move over to that platform, or were you hesitant at first and then kind of slowly adopted it and then realized it's all about music and it's perfect for someone like you? Like, how did you think about that?
That's another interesting question, because I didn't see myself as much of a content creator back then. I thought I was like, hey, all right, I'm gonna get into the space. I'm just gonna make some videos. Someone's gonna recognize me. I'm a beatboxer. I'm very, very unique. But never did I think like, wow, this is gonna turn into something that was, you know, top 10 in America, 1,000 unique sounds, billions of views. No, my plan was just to put out a song a day, a beat a day. Man, it didn't take me a lot of convincing. It took, because a lot of people told me about Musical.ly. And I was like, Musical.ly has been around for a while. And once they had the brand change to TikTok, at this point, I was like at like year 3 or 4 listening to Gary. And, you know, he knows this well now, but back then, man, I was dying to tell him he was the reason for why I got on TikTok. Yeah. It was, you know, it just made sense. Every artist he was speaking to, every conversation he had revolved around this new platform. And I was like, what's going on right now? It was February of 2019. And I took a look at it. And the first thing that I realized was, wow, this is the most direct social media has ever been. Yeah. This is the most transparent that we've ever had with a screen in front of us. And I really, really felt like I was, you know, living the lives of these people that were dancing in their living rooms and in their, you know, bathrooms or in their kitchens. And so, yeah, it didn't take a lot of convincing for me once I figured out it was the perfect thing.
Yeah. And how has the rise of TikTok impacted your career trajectory and like just goals as a content creator?
Wow, man, I can't thank TikTok enough. Thank you, TikTok. Everybody that's out there that supports me, I love you. I love you so much. I mean, it's changed my life. You know, it's changed the way that I've thought about many things, from you know, how to communicate with my interpersonal relationships, team, how to treat other people, how to be in this world, how to communicate with my fans. How I think about music itself, how I think about what music does. You can go deeper into there. I just think it's like a frequency and light thing right now, and it's beautiful. It's really beautiful to see how the world's come together with the power of TikTok and social. Man, I'm forever in debt to I'm a happy camper. That's all.
And tell us how collaborating with other creators contributes to your creative process. You know, as someone that creates beats, your collaboration possibilities are endless. It's pretty wild. So how does that contribute to your creative process?
Man, I'm very fortunate, and I've said this for a while, it's a double-edged sword to be a beatboxer. Because on one hand, I might be the most interesting person in the space and kind of like, you know, what is going on? Who is that? What is he doing? And then on the other hand, it's very easy for me to collaborate because I've been doing this for so long. Back on YouTube, I've privated all those videos, but I used to have a series called the Box Series, and actually not a lot of people know about this. And if you do, wow, because it's like 10 years old. But I used to have something called like Guitar Box, Piano Box, Electro Box, Rap Box, like Poetry Box, all these things. And I used to get myself into as many places as I could when I was a kid. Because I realized the potential of beatboxing was so much more than what it was online. And I've been a collaborator for a while. When I got on TikTok, what I realized was everyone's collaborating with each other. I got to get in this space, and I got to make the right moves with the right people. Let me get to know the community. Let me figure out what they're doing. How are they doing it? So everyone was in Los Angeles at the time. I was going from ramen bowl to ramen bowl here just to, you know, figure it out. And I set a goal, and I don't know what happened, man, but I counted it. And in a month, I had over 50 collaborations. Wow. And I just ran. It was like 3 a day or something. And I just ran and just figured it out. And it got me to think a lot more. It got me to understand that this world, you know, everyone wants to do, you know, the best version of themselves by themselves, right? Yeah. But, you know, it really is about the people around you. It really is about how you connect with people too, and how you every time that you connect, like this right here, this connection right here, we're exploring so many different mediums that we wouldn't have if we wouldn't have this conversation. So this is a collaboration right here. It's a beautiful collaboration right here. And I think collaboration is the way that, you know, the world goes around. We'd just be stuck on one ideas all the time if it wasn't.
So this always ends way faster than I wanted to, and we're almost at time. The whole entire comment section is asking, they want to hear a beat. So you got to throw us a beat live. I'm putting you on the spot. Give us a 30-second beat. Go for it.
Just for you. Now. Marketing. Marketing for not you.
That is sick. That is incredible. Now I know why they're putting you in Netflix movies left and right. I love it.
Dude,
Spencer.
I'm thankful, man. I'm thankful. I'm grateful, and I'm looking forward to what's coming.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to hanging in person. Thanks, Spencer.
You're sure, right?
That was amazing. I am dying over here. I am dying. Oh my God. We have to get that in there. Can we use that in our opening video, Spencer?
Absolutely.
I'll send you that check for $1 billion. I'm going to get Gary right on that.
I want to see Gary. I know Gary can do everything. All right.
Okay. So, that's right. That's right. Thank you so much for joining us.
You guys have an amazing day.
Take care. Right. You too. All right, Ryan, we got another one for you.
Go,
Next
let's
up
go.
is Michael Lee. Michael is
Hello.
a dancer, choreographer, and social media personality with how many followers? 51 million on TikTok. Whoa!
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right,
Thank you.
I'm gonna leave
Thank
it to
you.
you two.
What's up, Michael? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Just woke up a few hours ago. Planning out my day, getting into the tons of meetings. A lot of back end stuff, honestly.
Good. I love it. You're on the West
Yeah.
Coast, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, listen, let's jump right into it. I love origin stories. Tell me in a nutshell how you became a creator. Was it purposeful or was it by accident?
Oh man, it was crazy. Yeah, so I started off in 2012 as a dancer, going to Sean's Dance Factory, a hip hop studio in Florida. And basically my whole life I was kind of like always addicted to social media, YouTube specifically, and I was always in love with like the main creators. Like when YouTube started, it was like Ryan Higa, Kev Jumba, Smosh, like all of those OG YouTubers, and it kind of showed me like, yo, these people are like making livings out of having fun, making videos, inspiring people. And it was so inspiring to me. So in 2015 specifically, that's when I was kind of like a little bit more into, dancing. I was starting to become a little more professional, posting my own videos. And in 2015, that's when I like decided, I was like, all right, it's not a matter of how, it's a matter of when. I just got to go for it. Like I learned that the main thing that differentiated, I guess, the top creators from like people who wanted to do it was like just how much grind they really put into it. And from there I was like, all right, I mean, like, no one's perfect in this, everyone has their own thing, and I think if I just keep going, I'm gonna figure it out. And that's pretty much what I did. I became the first social media, like one of the first social media dancers in the dance culture. Kind of pushed through that, and then I gained in that 4 years about like 250,000 followers on like all socials. And then once TikTok came back in 2019, that's when they really pushed marketing. I had about 600,000 on Musically at the time. So when I hopped back on that first week, it was crazy. My friends were on it and they told me to hop on it. Like, yo, like this is, it's doing well. I was like, all right, let me check it out. First week, I hit 1 million followers. And that was my first million on any social. And I was like, whoa. And every week consistently after that, I was just like, literally all of my focus on every platform was erased. And I just focused on the TikTok. And every week I was gaining consistently another 1 million followers. And I was like, this is crazy. I started telling all of my collaborations, all of my dance people, everyone that was around me. I was like, yo, this is the next Vine. Because Vine was like, I missed out on the Vine opportunity. So I was like, I can't miss out on this. This is like super important. And just being on time with something, like having this chance to be, I guess, bigger than what you want to be. It's a mix of like consistency and skill and hard work. But the other part is also like timing and chance as well. It was chance that this just kind of worked. And and I pushed through, and months later I moved to LA with like 15-20 mil, and then like a few months later I moved my family out with me, and then I just started the whole family brand thing, and I haven't stopped ever since. And now I'm moving into the whole NFT space and getting into the whole Web 3.0 gaming space, and yeah, that's my whole nutshell.
I love it. So what TikTok taught you was be early, go fast, and you're doing it again with Web 3.0 right now with NFTs.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic. Tell me, how do you think about when you create content for Instagram versus TikTok? What's the mentality there? Is there a shift in mentality? How do you think about the two platforms differently?
Yeah, I mean, for Instagram, I'm honestly still figuring out how I can really manage my time with what makes the most sense. I mean, Instagram, it kind of just looks like your portfolio. I'm like a little like more picky with how I want to create and like show and how I represent myself on Instagram. So I'm honestly kind of figuring out, okay, like what works for me, because everything works for different creators. For me, it's more of like a specific style of dance videos, and then pictures. If I were to post TikToks on it, which I do sometimes, it doesn't do as well as I would expect. So it's kind of like a shift in like, all right, what works, because it's a different audience. And from there, you just have to kind of tend to that specific audience based off the platform.
Totally. When you work with brands, How do you prefer that they engage with you process-wise? Do you prefer they lead the creative direction, or?
Oh, not at all. I prefer, I mean, for me, I'm super creative. So
Yeah.
I kind of know like, all right, this is gonna work for me, this is not gonna work for me. You know, like I can give you I'll always try to advise and try to like put in my 2 cents of like, yo, like, you know, this is a good idea, but I also think like if we did it this way, or we tweaked certain things, this could feel more, I guess, natural to the viewer on TikTok. Because a lot of companies that come into TikTok, they just think, oh, if we put in a high production and do like this crazy, you know, thing that should look like it's on TV, it's going to do amazing, which, you know, and then it doesn't really resonate because they're not really speaking to their target audience. They're speaking to kids. They're speaking to these, you know, teenagers or kids that are watching and swiping through. And then obviously they see something that's completely sticking out like a sore thumb. It's kind of like, what is this, you know? So I try to kind of find the balance of like professional and natural.
Yep.
And yeah.
Makes sense. And, you know, obviously you do a lot of dance videos. That was kind of the rise of how you gained following to begin. Do you ever test new styles or formats of content? And if you do, how do you determine if it's a direction you should continue to go in, knowing that, you know, you gained your audience from a very specific style of video?
Yeah.
So how do you think about that?
I definitely experimented a lot in the beginning. In the beginning, it was like the most experimental. I did whatever I could, and you know, sometimes usually it worked out, and mainly because I was just like thinking of ideas that other people didn't think of. I guess if that made sense. It was a lot easier also because the competition back then was like, you know, way less. So that was another factor. But other than dance videos, you know, in my room or in my house, I started like, okay, what can I do to elevate this? Like, what do I love to watch? Like, what's ballsy? What's crazy? I started going to Walmart, dancing on counters, dancing in escalators, you know, like in the mall. Like that was the stuff that really started popping me off. And I started making more skit like vibes with the dances. So not only was the talent was in the video, it was also the skit and the story behind it. Like, oh, this guy started dancing, but not only that, he jumped in the car. Oh my gosh, the guy out in the front of the car, he ran out and tackled him. You know, like, so it was like this whole skit idea of like making content with just dancing content to basically just bring it together.
Yeah. Is that your son in the videos with you sometimes?
Oh no, that's my little brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I have 2 little brothers and a little sister.
He can dance as well, huh?
Yeah, I mean, he actually took a pretty long hiatus. He started just, you know, playing a whole bunch of video games, and you know, it was hard for me because I didn't have time to teach him anymore. So recently, I actually put him. Now he's in 4 times a week dance classes. He has 5 times a week tumbling classes. Like I'm really just kind of putting him into a whole bunch of stuff to keep him active and constantly growing. And yeah, it's pretty cool.
I love it. We're going to do a quick speed round of questions to get to know Michael, all right?
Let's do it.
And then we're going to wrap. Disney Plus or Netflix?
Ooh, Disney Plus.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
80s or 90s music?
90s.
Beach or mountains?
Beach.
Friends or Seinfeld?
Friends.
Red wine or white wine?
Neither. I don't like wine.
There you go. Drake or Kanye?
Ooh, Drake.
And last one, who is your favorite person to follow on TikTok?
Oh.
Hard one, right?
For me, I think it would be is King Chris.
All right. Michael, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your time.
Of course. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Michael.
Let's talk NFT soon.
Yeah, that's right. Sneaking it in. All right, Ryan, we've got Ellie Zeeler up next. Ellie is a 17-year-old content creator with 10.5 million followers on TikTok, nearly 2 million on Instagram, and a growing YouTube channel. I love, Ellie, that you combine all your passions, fashion, beauty, and lifestyle to be able to create your content. You've done it with some pretty cool brands like Lancome, Levi's, Amazon, and a whole lot more. Welcome.
Yes. Thank you so much. I love those introductions. It shocks me every time when people say those things.
How you doing, Ellie?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So, similar to when I was just talking to Michael, I really do love origin stories, and I want to know in a nutshell, like, how did you become a creator? Was it purposeful or was it by accident?
It was a little mix of both. So I grew up always loving film. I was always in film camps and in film classes, and I loved YouTube, and I would film and edit videos in my free time whenever I had free time, and I would never post them because I also was in a very competitive school environment. And so I was an athlete and a straight A student, and I had a nonprofit organization. And so I really did not have time to sit down and get to be creative. But when quarantine hit, like for most people, we all had so much time, and I finally got to really dig in and find that creative side of myself. But it didn't initially start like that. So I started really how I feel like a lot of people know TikTok to be in the past and in quarantine, which were these trending dance videos. And so I really started on there, and I grew from that pretty rapidly. And then from there, I really wanted to show people who I was and what I stood for and what I was interested in. And so I really knew that my followers loved me for me. And so, for example, instead of just doing a dance video in my sweats, like a lot of us were doing in quarantine, I would switch in some fashion and some makeup content, and as well as being funny and serious and editing all things together so people really got to know who I was, which is hopefully now.
Awesome. You have a lot of engagement in your channel. You have a real community, which is amazing. How do you determine how many comments you're going to respond to on any given post, any given day? How do you make sure that you're walking that thin line between like engaging with the community and not wasting your entire day responding to comments?
It's not only like wasting my entire day, but I could be scrolling and then I'll see a hate comment and it will just ruin the day as well. And so I really like to, when I first initially post, I'll go through and I'll really like to respond to comments that have clearly watched the video and are asking me a question or telling me something about me, something like that. And I love responding to those. I really try not to respond to hate comments. In fact, I really never respond to hate comments because I've really noticed that it's really this attention kind of search for a lot of people. And so honestly, something that I've seen in a little life hack, if you're getting hate comments, is when people do post something or comment something nice and you respond to those, a lot of people just want a response out of you. And so usually they go into the next videos and start commenting some love, but it's really easy to respond to people that you can tell put thought into these comments and who really care. And it's much easier to imagine a person behind the screen. So, yeah.
Love it. And how has the rise of TikTok impacted your career trajectory and goals as a content creator? Obviously, you said quarantine, you kind of had more time on your hands, you started creating. So this wasn't necessarily something that like was fully purposeful.
Not
so
in the plan. Yeah, right? No, this was not in the plan. I'm, again, so happy that it turned out to be like this. But as I said before, I really grew up in this super competitive environment in California. And so I went to a really competitive high school, and they taught us that if you didn't have a 4.5 and if you weren't the best athlete on your team and had businesses and nonprofits, that you wouldn't get into college. And ultimately, if you go to college, you get a job, you become successful. And that was just the trajectory that I was put onto, and that I feel like a lot of teenagers and kids in high school are put onto. And with that, I really suppressed my love of media and film and editing and this just other whole creative side that no one ever got to see. And so with quarantine and with everything opening up, I really got to discover that creative side. And this is really, I think, social media and doing things by yourself instead of this trajectory long-term plan that people put you on have really sped up the process for me. Like I really felt like I was meant to do these things, but instead I'm getting to achieve all of these incredible things at 17 and 18 soon, instead of maybe 25 or in my 30s when everyone told me I was going to.
Yeah, it's funny. I also, I came out of school in a very similar way where people tried to tell you the right way to have success in life and the right path to be on. and finance was kind of where I was brainwashed where you had to go. And I spent probably 5 to 7 years of my career in finance before pivoting to a completely different industry. And you kind of just need to know in your gut when you need to go with it, when life puts you on a different path. So it's really
100%. And I even had the idea where I was like, okay, I'm going to grind it out and do these like specific jobs that I've only been taught. And then maybe later in life, when I'm older, I can get to do things that I'm actually passionate about. And so I'm so grateful that every day I get to do something that I genuinely really enjoy, and that people have taught me maybe in the past that you couldn't be successful with, but now everyone really has seen that there is a way.
There's a couple of people in the comments saying you hit a mean golf ball. Is that true?
I do try to hit a mean golf ball. I mean, that was the sport that a lot of people, or that I tried on. And so I was on varsity golf, and I grew up playing golf. My brothers and dad are really into playing the sport. And so that was just another example of like me starting on TikTok with trending dances, and then like a few months later showing people what I really liked and enjoyed, which at the time was golf too. So thank you to whoever said that.
And when you think of Instagram versus TikTok, how do you think about creating content differently for these two platforms?
It's very interesting because I think that TikTok and YouTube, you really get to show a different side of yourself, and you really get to have people engage and have a real connection with you. Instagram, I think, is more of this staged kind of platform that a lot of people have seen it as. And so I like to kind of show people that sensitive side of myself, and show people how to get and achieve maybe a look or a makeup look or a fashion something, and then get to put that on the Instagram platform.
Yep. And do you try to collaborate with other large creators? Is that something that you enjoy doing? That's part of your strategy in general of creating content? Is it not something you think about? How does it contribute to your creative process, learning from other creators, all of that?
I think it's interesting because I do definitely, and I think a lot of people on TikTok do learn from other creators. Obviously, TikTok is really a trending platform. And so if you see other people doing a trend, then I'm sure you will want to participate in that trend. It's very interesting because I really have gotten to the point where I am doing all of this from my parents' house, and I really have not collaborated with a lot of people. Again, I would love to, and I think that, you know, I'm moving to LA in a couple of weeks, and so I'm excited to kind of start that journey. But also it gives me kind of this sense of all of these people that I've gathered up and that are following me are really following me for myself and not for anyone else. And so I think it goes one of two ways, but also super open to it and excited for that next stage too.
Is there one creator that you'd love to collab with? That's someone that you're just like, I love their style, I'd love to collaborate with them? I'm putting you on the spot there a little bit.
Ooh, that is putting me on the spot. It's so interesting because I feel like with doing so many different things, versus whether it's like cooking videos, golf videos, fashion, all of these different things, I have a favorite creator, I think, in each category. The first one that comes to mind are like the fashion influencers that I love. And so like Britney Diamond and this girl who's like the rich mom where you go. And I think it would just be cool to like raid their closets and make some content and some videos.
I love it. All right. Speed round of questions. Let's get to know Ellie. All right.
Okay.
Here we go. Disney Plus or Netflix?
Netflix.
Almond milk or oat milk?
Almond milk.
Vanilla or chocolate?
Chocolate.
Twitter or Instagram?
Instagram.
What was your first cell phone?
Oh my gosh. Like the stage, I had an iPhone.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe like an iPhone. I had like an iPod actually.
An iPod, there we go.
Is that a phone? I don't know. Anyway, an Apple product.
Last one, burger or pizza?
Pizza.
Pizza all the way. All right, Ellie, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
So great. Thank you, Ellie.
Thank you guys so much.
We'll see you soon. All right, we got the last one, Ryan. Last but not least, we're going to welcome the old gays. We've got Robert and Mick and Bill and Jesse. All right, they're all four here.
Let's go.
We love that they're navigating their golden years together. They've got 5.4 million followers on social media, 700 million views.
There we go.
Phil's already setting it straight. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and you take it away.
Welcome, guys. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Hi.
I was very, very excited for this interview, so I'm glad you're here. And the first thing I need to know is obviously TikTok, everyone always labeled it the past couple of years as very much a Gen Z platform. It was a platform that was for younger folks. How did you guys start on TikTok? Who told you about the platform? Why did you get on? I need to know the origin story.
Well, it actually started with Ryan, our producer. And last December, he had Robert do just some silly things with a Santa hat and coming into the door and all that kind of stuff. And that's how it started. And then it just from there, it absolutely went through the roof.
And how do you guys know each other? What's the relationship over the years?
We're neighbors.
Really?
Yes. Yes, I live catty corner to Mick and Robert, and we call Bill down the hill Bill. but we are just like a minute's throw from each other.
I love it. Were you on social media platforms together before TikTok, or was TikTok the first time you came together? First time? Okay, great. Yeah,
No, we were on YouTube before. We have about 50 videos on YouTube where we had about 55 million likes.
I love it. All right. And how do you guys think about authentically engaging your audience on a platform like TikTok? Are you guys mining the comments in order to see what the audience wants? Are you trying to play to like the different age groups on a platform like TikTok? How do you think about authentically engaging them? We can't hear you, Mick and Robert. For some reason, the audio is not working.
I have to tell you, we don't do any of that. Ryan does all that.
Okay.
And what makes us really authentic on TikTok is the fact that when we go into a situation, we don't know what we're going into. All of a sudden, Ryan throws it at us and we answer, and our authenticity has really what makes us really, I think, great.
Yeah, so you guys are real performers and entertainers at the truest form. I love it. And you know, how has the rise of TikTok impacted your career trajectory? How has it affected your lives just in general?
It's given us a lot of love, tons of it, of hugs, and it's just been good. We've stretched from it. These guys have stretched me so much into being myself and not worrying about what the world, I mean, not the world, but what people think, because we're okay and we're loved. And they realize that old gays aren't dead gays.
Absolutely. Have you had your moment yet where you've walked in public and people were like, oh, it's the old gays from TikTok?
All the time.
We, on our way to the Drew Barrymore show last year, we went through 6 different airports and we were recognized at every single airport. And at Dallas Fort Worth, they were lining up to take selfies with us. And that was over the top. I mean, I've never had that kind of feeling before in my life. It was absolutely incredible.
Yes. And even walking down the street also is just so fun to see people, even with, you've got your mask on and they still know who you are.
Yeah, I walked into Trader Joe's the other day, went to the checkout counter to buy my stuff. I had my mask on, and this checker said to me, she said, oh, how's your day? And I said, it's going good. She looked at me and said, TikTok. She just recognized me by my voice. She said, you're my favorites.
I love it. I love it. Mick, Robert, is the volume working this time, or is it?
I don't know. Can you hear us now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
So tell me, is there as you've now started to work with different brands and brand partnerships, has there been a brand partnership that stands out in your mind that just worked very seamlessly because they gave you certain creative freedom and you enjoyed it a great deal? Is there one that stands out for you guys?
Well, Paul Roth.
I can't remember anything.
Young. And working with that. They're very gracious in sending us some wonderful stuff.
I love it. And, do you prefer brands to engage with you by you guys leading the creative direction, or do you like them to kind of give you explicit direction on what they think is going to work? How do you guys like to work with brands from that perspective?
Well, I would say it kind of depends. Sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't, and we have to be creative. I really, we defer to Ryan when it comes to that, because he may look at the material that's coming in from what the client wants, and instead say, well, let's try something different. We're always looking for something that has a little bit of an edge here, and also that engages with our primary market, which are the TikTok viewers, who are, quite frankly, several generations younger than us.
Yeah. I was going to say, you probably spans the gamut. You guys are probably one of the most, from a diversity perspective, age groups, different demographics. I'm sure you have such a diverse demographic base that is following you. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. And Brian Graydon, that's working with us, says that our appeal is we cut across all demographics.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. All right, let me jump into a speed round of questions here, guys. I want to get to know the old gays a little bit better. So I'm going to first go with a question. If you could travel back to Blockbuster, what movie and snack would you choose right now?
The snack would be popcorn, caramel popcorn. Not sure what movie.
My snack would be Milk Duds.
Butter popcorn.
And Nick?
Red Vines.
A lot of different choices there. Summer or winter? What do you guys prefer?
Summer.
Winter.
All right. 50s, 60s, or 70s music?
60s.
60s.
70s.
70s.
Vanilla or chocolate?
Chocolate.
Chocolate.
Friends or Seinfeld?
Friends.
Neither.
And I want to know from each of you, who is the best music artist of all time from your point of view?
Patti LaBelle is my love.
Whitney Houston.
Turner.
I would say Frank Sinatra.
And Bill?
Tina Turner.
I love that. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today on Marketing Food Now. We really appreciate your time.
That was incredible.
Bye.
Thank you, guys. Oh, that was so fun, Ryan. I wanted to keep asking questions, or you could have gone a lot. I think you could have kept that one going.
Thank you for having me on today, Andrea.
All right. We hope to see you in February. All of you, please join us. We've got our next episode on the 17th of February from 12 to 1 p.m. We're going to focus on the hot takes for 2022, a mix of business speakers as well as a couple of pretty famous inspirational authors. And we can't wait to continue the conversation. Hashtag marketing for the now. Let us know what you think we should have on some of our future shows. And check out any past episodes on mftn.vaynerx.com. We'd love to hear from you. See you soon.